How did me and my friends end up at Pulse nightclub? Well, we just got to Orlando, Florida from Philadelphia the night before. So we just got there. This is my first time ever being in Florida, the first time ever being in Orlando, first time ever being at Pulse nightclub. How did we even get there? Akira, who unfortunately is no longer here, Googled maps like popular clubs in Orlando, and Pulse was the first one to come up. It had like 5 stars, and we were so excited. We were extremely excited, and so her mom and her dad drove us there, and we actually reached Pulse nightclub outside of it around 11:50, but because we needed to go get changed to get inside, we walked over to 7-Eleven together. So by the time we got to Pulse nightclub, it was probably a little after 12. And at the door, they checked our IDs to make sure we were over 18. But the sweetest face greeted me right before I paid my $10. Her name was Amanda. She was one of the victims who unfortunately did not make it. She had glasses and her bang. I told her that her shoes were the cutest I've ever seen. She let me be her +1, so I didn't have to pay. So when we entered together, Amanda, Akira, and Tiara Parker, who's my best friend, we were all having a good time for a short period of time before Amanda actually disappeared. We didn't remember what happened to her. She said she was going to the bathroom because there are 3 parts of Pulse nightclub, as you all know now. There's a patio that's outside. There's a middle section, and there's an indoor, another indoor part where most of the live entertainment takes place back there. And at first when we got in, we were hanging out in the middle section with Amanda. And then when she went to the bathroom, we waited for a while, but we realized she didn't come back, so we decided to go to the bathroom too, because we had to go to the bathroom, and we didn't see her in there, so we just decided to go in the indoor part after that, like the back indoor part, where the rest of the live entertainment was taking place. And we stayed there the rest of the night until the gunshots started. And we were having the time of our lives. Akira was the life of the party, literally. And everybody loved her. Everyone just adored her. Tiara Parker, who's her cousin, like, we were just all having, like, the night that we dreamed of going out. Like, literally, it was the best. It was the most beautiful bonding experience, like any 3 girls could have on their first night out on vacation. And it wasn't until about 1:58 when I looked at Akira's phone, and I turned to Tiara. I said, "So how are we getting home?" Tiara told me, "Oh, we're going to get an Uber." So she started to order the Uber. And a few seconds from her ordering the Uber and me asking that question, that's when we started hearing the gunshots going off in the middle section where we had left from. At first, we didn't know that there were gunshots. I didn't know. I was so confused. I was like, wow, a club would do all this just to get people to leave their club? Like, they would have, like, BB guns. I thought it was a BB gun at first, like, or the DJ playing some sort of, like, sound of gunshots. I didn't think they were actually real gunshots, but the fear of it, the fear inside me made me drop to the floor anyway. So I'm like, scrambling on the floor. Tiara and Kiara run towards the bar, and I'm scooting backwards, not realizing that I'm about to go out the door, and it was actually the exit there. And I saw Kiara get up and run over to me, and I look up, and we're actually outside. Me and Kiara actually made it outside while the gunshots were still going off. And I said, "Well, where's Tiara? Where's Tiara?" So, and the part of the poem where I feel so guilty about surviving is because if I would have told Akira to stay outside and just wait, and I'll try to go back and get Tiara, because she didn't make it. Me and Tiara did make it, and I feel really guilty about that. And I was speaking to her mom, and she told me not to feel guilty. You know, God has his plan, but I told her, let's go get Tiara. We got to get Tiara. So when we went inside, we got trapped in there. So we saw Tiara, but everybody was rushing into the bathroom stall. Everyone was rushing into the bathroom stall. The gunshots were still going off rapidly, and it's still not real to me yet. It's still not real to me. I'm just like, why are they doing all of this? And I was even Snapchatting in the bathroom stall once we got in there. We ran into the bathroom. Me, Tara, and Akira were like actually the last ones to actually get into the bathroom stall, the handicap one, the biggest one. And the guy who, it was an African-American male who ended up closing and locking the door, who I believe got shot from doing that in the process. And the gunman entered the bathroom and was shooting his machine gun. So we're all like scrambling around in the bathroom, screaming at the top of our lungs when he was in there for the first time. And then, you know, people are getting hit by bullets, like blood is everywhere. And then there was a moment where he stopped shooting in the bathroom. And that's when everyone looked around, and that's when I first realized that my leg was shot. There were several other people shot and bleeding in the bathroom. That's when Akira, who didn't make it, realized she was shot in her arm. And I'm not sure if that was when Tiara also got shot in her side, but we were all pretty bad. And at that point, we knew that this wasn't a game. This was very real, and this is something that was really happening to us right now. And it was shock. We just went from having the time of our lives to the worst night of our lives, all within a matter of minutes. So the gunman had stopped shooting for a while. I don't know where he went, but I was lying in the bathroom floor. I was right underneath the stall wall, so the stall wall was like right above my face because I was trying to get most of my body into the second stall, because there was like a lot of people, and my leg was injured at the time. Like I got shot in my leg, and it was actually pinned under the person who was laying right next to me. So it was very painful, and we laid there for hours and hours, hoping that someone came and got us, and hoping that the police would come through at that point in time and just like save us all. But throughout that period of hours, the gunman was in there with us. And he actually made a call to 911 from in there. Everybody could hear who was in the bathroom, who survived, could hear him talking to 911, saying that the reason why he's doing this is because he wants America to stop bombing his country. And from that conversation from 911, he pledged his allegiance to ISIS. And he started speaking, and I believe after he got off the phone with 911, he started speaking in Arabic. And now that I know to be Arabic, at first I didn't know like what the language was. And after that, he even spoke to us directly in the bathroom. He said, "Are there any black people in here?" I was too afraid to answer, but there was an African-American male in the stall where most of my body was, majority of my body was, had answered. And he said, "Yes, there are about 6 or 7 of us." And the gunman responded back to him saying that, "You know, I don't have a problem with black people. This is about my country. You guys suffered enough." And he made a statement saying that it wasn't about black people. This isn't the reason why he was doing this. But through the conversation with 911, he said that the reason why he was doing this is because he wanted America to stop bombing his country. So the motive is very clear to us who were laying in our own blood and other people's blood, who were injured, who were shot, that we knew what his motive was, and he wasn't going to stop killing people until he was killed, until he felt like his message got out there. And he made several other comments, like while we were in the bathroom. And just quickly to retract for a second, when he first came in the bathroom, there were like pellets. What felt like BB gun pellets is what gave me the impression that it was a BB gun. Is because there were wall fragments hitting my legs, but that was really just the machine gun that he had blaring around the entire room, and it actually got jammed. He was like, "Damn," like it jammed. So with my face under the stall looking, I could see him put down his machine gun and and you could hear him trying to click and fix his handgun. So time goes on, and people's phones are going off. People are obviously calling. And it was actually, before he came back in, Kira was on her phone talking to her mom, asking. And that's when everybody was asking for people to come and get us and help and come and, save us, basically. And people were on the phone with 911. But when he came back into the bathroom after that first round of machine gun shots went off, that's when he wanted everybody to get off their phones. He didn't want to hear anybody on their phones. He didn't want to hear any text message sounds. He didn't want to hear any phones ringing. So every time a phone rung or every time a text message went off, he would say, "Where is it? Give it up. Where is it?" And there was a point in time where there was somebody's phone who was going off. It wasn't even inside the stall. It wasn't even inside the stall. The phone was outside. And because he was still saying, "Where is it? Give it up. Give it up," I just tossed my phone out because nobody was responding. So we're assuming that the person whose phone it was either already shot and dead, or they just didn't know that it was their phone that was outside of the stall. But the last shots that went off that he did inside the bathroom while we were held hostage was right before the police bust through our bathroom that we were inside of. So there were like 3 explosive sounds that went off right before the police actually rescued us from inside the bathroom. And at first we thought that they were the other gunmen that he's communicating with that were exploding themselves, because it was a point in time in the bathroom after the phone call he made with 911, and I believe after his statement that he made about like not having a problem with black people, but it being for his country, it sounded as if he was communicating with other people who were involved with it. He made a statement that if the police come in, they're going to attack, but it's okay, we got the snipers outside. Whoever he spoke to, and some police officers, maybe he was just deranged, maybe he was talking to himself, but I honestly feel like I don't think he was able to pull that off all by himself, that one man all by himself. And because he said it out of his face that he had snipers outside, and the first shots that you heard, there were so many shots going off, that's why it sounded like it was a part of the music. Couldn't believe that this was actually gunshots happening, so many at one time. So right before the wall, like right before the SWAT or the PD bust through the wall, he actually started backing into the bathroom stall itself that myself, Tierra Parker, and Akira, who didn't make it, was inside of. And I could see his feet like scooting back, scooting back, scooting back as he heard the police outside. And the last thing that I heard before the police said, move away from the walls, because obviously they were about to bust through again, he said, "Hey, you," to someone on the floor inside the bathroom, and shot them, shot another person, and then shot another person who happened to be directly behind me, who I'm told through the eyes of Tierra that shielded me with their own body to make sure that I wasn't hit. So, and I don't know who that person is. I don't know the name of that person, but if they're somewhere watching thank you for saving my life, literally. If it wasn't for that person shielding me, it would have been me shot, and I wouldn't be sitting here today to talk about it. So after he rang off those last 3 shots, "Hey, you, bow, bow, bow," they bust through the wall, and they started engaging in gunfire after they told him, "Put your weapon down, put your weapon down." He didn't, so they engaged in gunfire. They got him, they shot him dead. And from that point, because the wall had exploded, the pipes, there was water starting to rise. I was getting really scared because I was thinking, like, if I don't they don't get to me soon or something, I might drown sitting here in this water, this pile of bloody water. But I was able to get the debris off my face, and I was able to push myself from underneath the stall wall and come on the other side where the handicap bathroom was, where the handicap stall was, and I was able to sit up and pull my leg from underneath the person who just was killed beside me. And I was asking Tierra Parker, I said, "Tierra, are you shot?" And she said, "Yeah, she got shot in her side." I said, "What's wrong with Kiara? What's wrong with Kiara?" Kiara was laying over Tierra's lap, lifeless, but according to the African-American male who was luckily unharmed, who was not shot at all, he checked Kiara's pulse at the time and said that she still had the pulse, she's still breathing. So that was the last thing Tierra basically said to me, like, she's breathing, she's breathing. So when the SWAT member started coming in, we told him, like, beware, like, there's snipers outside. He said, "There's snipers outside." And they were asking us, "Well, is there any more bombers inside?" We're like, no, it's just us. Like, he was the last one, he was the last one. So we were all raising our hands up, and the SWAT team member picked me up. I put most of my weight on him to try to keep the weight off of my leg. And I actually saw Akira's phone right before I got out the wall, and I picked it up because I truly believed, like, after I was told she was breathing, that her pulse was still going, that I would be able to get that phone back to her. Once we got back into the hospital. So they pulled me out the wall. I couldn't walk, so the SWAT team member had to drag me by my arms through the grass with my leg. It's pretty bad, but they were able to get it back together. I have the bullet had shattered my femur bone in my right leg, and the bullet had went through my left leg. So I didn't even know I was shot in my left leg until they cut my clothes off in the ambulance and told me, like, you have another bullet wound under your left thigh. So I'm still here.